Alright, what's up friends, and welcome to Wasteland 2 Director's Cut. Thanks to all of you who voted in my little poll to see what would be my next Let's Play. And of the three options I presented, I have to admit I was really hoping you guys would vote for Wasteland 2, so you really came through. New game? Yeah, fine. I have to admit that I have played the Director's Cut a little bit. I've got like, an hour or two on record. But I stopped playing when it occurred to me that I would want to do this for a Let's Play. And hence, here we are. The squad creation. We are absolutely going to create a custom squad. So now, the 5 of you left comments in the poll. And I'm going to use you guys as a basis for my rangers. So we got Joseph Oakes, Wettrash BK, Potato Fish, Dolmar, and Pendant Blade. Pendant Blade, I don't know if I can get you in. You're the 5th person, but the first 4 will certainly get in. But if I can get you in, I will. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create entirely new custom characters for you guys. I'm going to fade out here quick, and then I'll fade back in once I've done the creation. I don't want to bore you to death by the character creator, which can take ages. I could easily spend hours creating rangers. Okay? All right, friends, welcome back. Let me introduce you to our rugged band of apocalypse survivors. First up, Joseph Oakes. So Joseph Oakes is a 26-year-old Christian male from America, and he has the little biography I've written for him. So Joseph Okie Oakes was a middle school history teacher in Brooklyn, New York, when the apocalypse came. A tall, wiry man, his students had long teased his outward image as an Old West cowboy, with his affectations of the South and his obsession with westerns and gunslingers. On many occasions, his lessons would be derailed by a student asking about some aspect of life in the Old West, which Okie could, and would, talk for hours on end about. What few people knew, however, was that Okie was in reality an accomplished gunslinger. Living in the US of A allows anyone with a pulse easy access to firearms. Okie had been competition shooting for years and would be deadly in a real gunfight, a skill he never imagined would become his main vocation. The day the bombs dropped found Okie regaining consciousness in his classroom, surrounded by the charred remains of his former students. He couldn't fathom how he had survived, no less why he survived. But his time alive after the apocalypse made it clear that there were still plenty of innocent people out there that needed the help of a good guy with a gun. Well, howdy, ma'am, is all I can say. Well, I'm having second thought about these chaps. They look a little silly. I think, yeah, that's much better. There you go. That's much more spaghetti western and a lot less, cowboy from the village people. That's better. Okay, so skills-wise, I've gone heavily into intelligence with him. He's only got 7 intelligence rather than 8, but as soon as he gets an attribute point level up, he'll take 8 for the extra skill points per level. I've gone heavily into coordination with him because I want him to be pretty good with his handguns. He's going to be shooting pistols a lot and hopefully be very, very good with them. Knowledge-wise, he's got a point in mechanical repair. And... no, wait, that ain't right. I didn't mean to do that. It wasn't supposed to be mechanical repair. It was supposed to be safe cracking. He's a safe cracker. And then eventually I'll put a point or 2 into demolitions and outdoorsman as well. I think outdoorsman and demolition kind of fits with like an old Western guy. You see in those Western movies, they would throw dynamite at each other quite a lot. In fact, let's start with a point in demolitions. I think that's going to be more useful than safe cracking right away. For a perk, I've gone for Opportunist, which gives 50% damage against any target at less than 35 Constitution, but minus 25 damage against any target at more than 35 Constitution. I'm wondering if that's going to be the right thing to do or not. I would actually want someone who's lower in the initiative order to have this and use him as like a finisher, but I like the idea of him picking on someone who's lower than 35% Constitution with his pistols, like as a finishing move. So that's Okie. What a badass. Next, the leader of the group, Wettrash BK, a 32-year-old European atheist who smokes Red Rooster. Bartosz Wettrash BK Kowalski was a Polish exchange student studying drama and theater at the University of San Francisco when the bombs dropped. Wettrash had long had a passion for the performing arts and fit the typical mold of the theater student. Extroverted, confident, and occasionally irritating with his flair for the dramatic. After the fall, his ability to survive depended on his ability to talk his way out of any situation. But he was also a realist. He made sure to learn how to fire a rifle. Stranded in a foreign land, thousands of miles from his home, Wetras hopes to someday return to Poland and track down his family. Welcome, Wetras. I've just noticed here I've used ability twice in a sentence, which is irritating. His survival. So instead of saying his ability to survive, I can say his survival depended. Skills-wise, he's less intelligent, but I'm still putting at least 6 intelligence in everybody because it gives you an extra skill point per level. Charisma is 6, which I think is pretty high. I should probably make it higher, but I think he'll stay at that. I've given him a point in leadership and smartass. For the most part, I'm going to be using smartass in all of the discussion points. You get an extra perk at 1 level lower. He doesn't strike me as a hard ass or a kiss ass, so we'll go for smartass. Knowledge skill, I've taken just 1 point in field medic and surgeon each because we need someone who can use those abilities of surgeon and field medic before we get our dedicated medic, which I know we get later on. That gives him only 2 points in assault rifles, so he's not great, but he will be pretty good. 1, 2, 3. Actually, he's not going to level up this stuff much more. I might give him toaster repair. But for the most part, it'll be leadership, smartass, and assault rifles. Quirk-wise, I've given him misophobic, which is 25% benefit when you use healing items on others, which I think makes sense. Because he's basically the backup medic. So, yeah. But he can't use healing items on himself, which is fair enough, but someone else can always heal him. Next up, our hacker, Potato Fish. A 29-year-old female European who doesn't smoke. Anastasia Potato Fish Ivanova immigrated to the United States soon after graduating from high school in Estonia. She had grown up largely behind a computer screen, spending hours learning everything there is to know about electronics, how they fit together, how software is created and circumvented, as well as some of the ways to make a living off of these skills that were morally ambiguous. By the time the bombs fell, she had fallen in love with and become engaged to an American and had largely left her past behind. However, in the post-apocalyptic hellscape, with her fiancé dead and her life in tatters, her old skills suddenly became key to her survival. That, and the laser gun on her hip, that is. Potato Fish, oh yeah. So max, or not max, but 8 intelligence points. I mean, as a hacker, you would expect her to be supremely intelligent. The other physical skills not as important, but I've given her a bit of skills in coordination to make her decent with her energy weapons. Knowledge skills, mostly computer science. I'm going to throw a lot of points into computer science. And a few in mechanical repair. Most likely I'll leave it at like level 3 or so, but we'll see. General skills, I don't think she has any general skills. Brute force, I don't see us needing barter. We can just live without. The one thing we don't have in this group is an animal whisperer, but we'll just have to work around that. For perks, I've gone for repressed rage, which gives double damage and 25% critical chance for 1 turn after receiving a critical hit. The drawback being you can never get normal critical hits, which means you can't inflict critical hits, but that's fine or perfect for an energy weapon user who cannot inflict critical hits with that weapon type. So it's just a bonus pretty much. Very cool. Last but not least, Dole, our sniper. Dole is a 26-year-old Christian from America. A mysterious figure known only as Dole, this man appeared before the Ranger Citadel, emerging from the dusty haze of the blasted wastes with a pack full of supplies and an immaculately maintained hunting rifle slung low over his shoulder. Dole gives little when pressed for details of his past, but his deft touch with picking locks, disarming alarms, and the fact that he quite easily survived post-apocalypse suggests that his vocation before the apocalypse was not exactly something he could declare on a tax return. Regardless, Dolmar's skills on and off the battlefield make him invaluable to his comrades. I like the fact that I've chosen like this little face painting thing, sort of suggesting that he has ties to the Native Americans or some sort of weird face tattoo past. Maybe it was something to do with like gang life. He was clearly a thief or some sort of illegally employed person. So sniper rifles is how he does his damage. Intelligence 6 points, as I almost always do with everyone, to give him the 3 skill points per level, and quite high coordination and an extra point in awareness. The point in awareness is there because he needs to go into perception. We're starting with only 1 point, which is quite low. So I need to get that up as high as I can, as quick as I can. You almost always need someone walking at the front of the group with perception active to make sure you don't walk into any traps or mines or anything. I think it's pretty clear he was a cat burglar before he joined the Rangers, so lockpicking will be his main skill. And alarm disarming, I don't think I'm going to go into much more than level 3. Like a lot of the times I find alarm disarming is cool, it helps you get the drop on people, but every time you fail an alarm disarming skill, it just, triggers an alarm and a bunch of enemies come running at you, but then you just got to win the fight. So it isn't that bad if you fail the alarm disarming. Quirk-wise, I've gone for Brittle Bones to give the +2 base action points. I know that firing a hunting rifle or sniper rifle can take a lot of action points, anything up to 6 per shot, so he would need 12 to be able to shoot his rifle twice in a turn. He's got 11 actually. That means actually I can go 1 less coordination. Yes, and take an extra point in awareness for evade, vision range, and combat initiative. Sweet. Okay, awesome. So he's got his 12 action points with his Brittle Bones perk. And base combat speed will mean he'll almost always act last. But I suppose that's fine. Awesome. So there's our squad. Joseph Oakes, Wittrass BK, Potato Fish, and Dolmore. Let's get started. So select difficulty, rookie, season. I think we'll go with a ranger. I've played the base game quite a lot. I've got a lot I need to learn again, but I think ranger is the right way to go. Supreme Jerk is just going to be a bummer. Let's play. That tip reminds me, I need to make sure Wittrass levels up leadership quite quick. Because having your allies ignore your orders is a disaster. Love that quote.
What comes after the end? I don't know. Neither did they. They were just an army engineer battalion, constructing roads and bridges deep in the middle of the Arizona nowhere. They didn't know why Armageddon had come. They'd heard radio chatter about an attack on some space-based missile platform. But who had attacked it? Or why? No one knew. What they did know is that the politicians and the generals had finally ended the world. Now, everything was gone. They took over a federal prison for a fort, kicked out the convicts, got busy starting from scratch. Maybe it was an act of mercy. Maybe they figured that the prisoners would die out in the harsh new world. Whichever, it came back to bite the engineers in the ass. Cultists, criminals, cannibals. They've been living with the fallout ever since. Good people had survived too, called for help in the night. And those engineers, those common soldiers, could not stand by and see them die. So they came out of their fort, and they helped the survivors defend their homes. And for that, they earned a new name, a proud name. The Desert Rangers. Now, Rangers, I know at times it seems our cause is hopeless. And I know it's hard to say goodbye to a brother in arms. But I want you to know something else. That no Ranger who dies in the line of duty will ever be forgotten. Nor will he have ever died in vain or unavenged.
Oh, so cool. So the first thing I should point out to you guys is that
I appreciate you coming to Captain Ace's retirement party when you hardly knew the man. Appropriate too, seeing as how investigating his death will be your first duty as a Desert Ranger.
okay, so what I was going to say was, what I want for this playthrough is I want to get completely immersed in the story, in the background, and all the little details. So just to warn you guys that I'm going to be reading almost every single bit of text that I can find and exploring almost every single dialogue tree. So if you find that a bit dull, you might want to get into the habit of just skipping ahead like a minute or two when I get into conversations. But I'd encourage you not to, because it really helps getting yourselves immersed in the story and, you know, role-playing with the characters that we've handcrafted. Okay, so happy to be given the opportunity, but are you sure we're ready?
Yeah, I know. You've hardly found your feet with us, and here I am sending you on a mission that already got one Ranger killed. Well, I wish I had another option, but the Desert Rangers are spread a little thin right now. Ranger teams Abel and Charlie are out west trying to stop a range war out there from becoming straight-up genocide. And Team Baker is up north looking for a way through the radiation that's cut us off from Vegas. I'm afraid the next generation is going to have to lead the charge on this one.
Fair enough. How did Ace die, sir?
Ace had been trying to locate a faint radio signal, which has lately been giving us cause for concern. We gave him 3 repeater units and sent him to hook them up to 3 remote radio towers. This would have allowed us to get a fix on the signal. But sadly, Ace was murdered by unknown assailants right after hooking up the first tower, and his logbook and the last 2 repeater units were stolen.
Okay. So what's the mission, sir?
The mission is this. Search the area where Ace's body was found, and do your best to recover his logbook and the repeater units. Then call in your report. If you find the repeaters, I may send you on to finish his mission. Ace's death must be avenged, and it will be. But finding the signal he died trying to track down is just as important. Besides, I got the sneaking suspicion that when you find the one, you'll find the other.
Fair enough. So the signal is a threat, sir?
The voice on those broadcasts disturbed me greatly. It talked crazy talk about a future where man and machine would be one. Worse, it talked about us, the Desert Rangers, specifically. It said it was coming for us.
Whoa. So repeater units, sir?
When you get back to the Citadel, talk to our radio expert, Wade Woodson, if you want to know more about the technical details. All I know is the repeaters will upgrade the towers and allow us to zero in on the mystery signal.
Okay. So where are the radio towers?
I'll give you the locations of the towers once you have the repeaters in hand. More important to find them first.
Fair enough. So you think the logbook was stolen, sir?
Don't know, but it wasn't on Ace's person when he was found. Look for it. It might have some clues as to his death.
So where is this area?
It's about a day's walk east from here. I'll mark it on your map.
Okay.
There you go.
So call in, sir?
Yes, call in on your radio. Your radio is your lifeline to Ranger Citadel. We'll be calling you with alerts and updates on your current missions, and sending you new missions when we receive distress calls. As Rangers, it is your sworn duty to respond to those calls. That is the contract we made with the people of Arizona when we opened for business.
So when can we enter the Citadel, sir?
Once you prove yourself, the Citadel will be your new home. Consider this mission the final test of your training. If you succeed, you are welcome within our walls. If you fail, then you aren't cut out to be a Desert Ranger, and we won't let you in.
So hard ass, kiss ass, let's try smart ass. So surely, sir, the success of this mission is more important than testing us. If you want to find these signals, shouldn't you let us in so we can stock up on everything we need to proceed?
Using logic on me, eh? Smartass. Logic and observation will change some folks' minds, and you can catch people in lies that way. But sometimes it only makes them mad, so be careful. In this case, you're right. I should let you in, but I got a feeling about you four. You got depths you don't even know you have, and it's gonna take adversity to tap them. So I'm sending you out undergunned and unprepared, just to see what it brings out of you.
Yeah.
Thank me later.
Good thing, Vargas.
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay, thank you, sir. We'll do our best.
Good luck out there, recruits.
All right. So I'm just looking at the skills here. Ah, yes. Okay, so using skills, yeah, fine. I should be able to skip most of this stuff. Okay, it sounds to me that the audio volume is still a bit high. Right. So here lies Ace, born a man, died a desert ranger. So Dolmar, let's see, he's going to be using perception most of the time, and it's going to involve an awful lot of digging things up. So lockpick, meds. Okay, let's see what we can find. Oh yeah, there's nothing else out here. And I also seem to remember that if you try to dig up that grave, it really pisses people off. Not surprisingly. I want to put more points into perception to get this circle as big as we can, as quick as we can. Yep, can't let us in yet, fair enough. What we got here? Oh yes, this is the shop lady. Like I said, I wanted to get involved with the story and whatnot, but I'm not going to exhaust every dialogue option of every person. I think that would be frankly crazy. Let's just see if we can trade anything. I don't think we can. I mean, we've got 50 on us. Ooh, a small scope. That I want to buy as soon as I can, so we can animal whisper something. But yeah, we've got nothing we can buy or sell. Good lord, this game is loud. Water canteens, we don't need to top those up. Mind picking up that can over there? I think there's some water in there. Fine, I'll play along. He headbutted you right in the butt. Now that's the voiceover line.
Against the United States. In other words, federal.
What is going on? Oh, right. I am an idiot. The reason it was so loud was because I was playing the original soundtrack just during the character creation. Duh. And that was then overriding the in-game volume, which we are now on right now. Hashtag production value. Let's see here. Damn, and something seems to be buried here. Right. Well, I need to get into the habit of looking for all of these stones and digging up whatever we can. It's a good way to find junk, which is going to help us have money. Sunglasses, ammo. Just looking around, is there anything here we can... But there you go. Scrap, yep, scrap is the currency, I know that. This dude, what's he doing? So this ranger is covered in piercing tattoos and scars. He's scrubbing graffiti off the wall. Can't talk, gotta clean up this graffiti. Oh, well, fair enough. Ooh, a fence. So carefully examining, Dole finds a lock. We will try to pick. But what was the percentage there? 78%. Oh, failed. I seem to remember that you can keep trying, but if it fails enough, then the lock will jam and break. And just as I was hoping, we've got an access here to a sawed-off shotgun and some ammo. Awesome. I don't think anyone that we have in our group is going to use shotguns, though. It's this extra shotgun. We need hunting rifle, energy rifle, phase blaster, assault rifle, and pistol. I kind of think like a shotgun would be good for someone who's going to be on the front lines a lot. But our frontline guy is going to be Joseph Oakes, just because of his pistols being shorter range than any of the other weapons, really. But I must say that one of my objectives here is not to, I don't want to min-max and try to get the quote-unquote perfect squad. I want to have everybody leveling up and having skills that sort of fit with their backstory. And I'm more interested in having an interesting experience and playthrough than one where everything goes perfectly and we smash the game.
God damn it, Ace.
Oh yes, Angela.
Should have put down the wrench and picked up the gun.
A tough-looking redhead with decades of sun and wind and hard living etched into her angular face stands sobbing in the shadows. You saw her at Ace's retirement party. The sleeves of her uniform have been torn off, revealing multiple tattoos on her sinewy arms, all skulls. The tears running down her cheeks are splashed on a rusty old wrench she holds in her scarred hands. Among the skull tattoos that cover Angela's arms, there is a single heart, and within that heart, a single name. Ace.
Sorry about the waterworks. I'm still pretty broke up over Ace. I'm Angie. You kids must be the new recruits old Vargas trained up. Lord, y'all just babies.
We saw you at Ace's funeral. You knew him well?
They all hurt, but this one... Man, Ace wasn't even a ranger. Not at first. He worked as a driver and mechanic for Fair and Brygo up in Vegas. When Base Cochise started sending its death machines into the desert, Brygo sent Ace south to recruit robot fighters. We met him in Quartz. He'd pissed somebody off out there and they'd locked him up. We sorted that out, and he started running with us, helping us fight Cochise. Never stopped. Vargas eventually gave him the uniform and the hat, but I don't think he ever formally signed on. He was just always there. And now he's... God damn it, Ace. I knew this one was trouble. I knew it.
You thought Ace's mission was trouble?
He was working on the same thing Vargas has you working on. Trying to track down radio signals from beyond the edges of the map. All seemed a bit boring and scientific to me. But then Ace started saying he thought someone was following him. I asked him to let me come with him when I met him at Rail Nomads to give him the repeater units. But he told me to go back to base. He said he was just jumping at shadows because those radio broadcasts had spooked him. Should have gone with him. Why didn't I go with him?
So as much as I've said I want to get involved, all of the story and the writing, this is crazy how much there is. So we'll try to find a middle ground between talking to people and not sitting here talking for hours on end. Babies? Us?
Sorry, but you are. As cute as little kittens. Y'all remind me of us. Snake, Razor, Thrasher, and me. Back when we were just starting out. Thinking we were gonna save the world for the future. Thinking none of us would ever die. Christ, sorry. Don't listen to me. Youth is good. Optimism is good. If we all started out worn out and jaded like me, nobody'd ever try to change the world. So you kids go ahead and give it a go. Maybe it'll work this time.
Do you know anything more about these repeater units?
I don't really know the details. It's all a bunch of mumbo-jumbo about transmitters and north-south axis and signals bouncing off the clouds. Ask Woodson about it. He's our radio genius.
Okay, so have you heard any of these strange broadcasts?
Ace played me some of them before he died. Hard to make out a lot of it, but what I heard made my hair stand on end. Some guy talking about turning men into machines. Or machines into men, or some shit. But the crazy thing was, then he starts talking about us, the Rangers, saying we're the cause of all the trouble in the world, and we need to be wiped out so his glorious future can be born. I mean, who is this guy? Where is he? What the fuck does he have against us?
So I see you have Ace's name tattooed in that heart on your arm.
You noticed that, huh? Well, Ace always said I wore my heart on my sleeve. Yeah, me and Ace, we were more than just old army buddies, if you know what I mean. That's why it hurts so bad. That's why I want to come with you.
Sweet, well, come with us. Bye.
Say, listen. Vargas asked you to look into Ace's death because he thought I was too upset to be professional about it. He didn't want me going off half-cocked and shooting up all of Arizona looking for his killer. But I gotta find this guy. Ace and me, well, we'd been fighting side by side for nigh on 20 years. I'm not letting him die unavenged. So, well, I know it's going against orders, but if you let me tag along and be in at the kill, well, I'll help you find your feet out there. Maybe give you a few pointers along the way. I may be old and slow, but I know the wastes like the back of my hand.
Hell yeah, Angela. With a last name like Deth, I can't see how we can say no. Yep, so you occasionally get followers. Yeah, fine.
Vargas, why I joined you. If anybody asks, I'm just helping you get oriented, all right?
Sure thing. One thing, I've gotten into the habit of having my person who's using perception be at the front. But I think as long as it's active, he doesn't technically have to be at the front. Which means that, oh no, look now, like that, Oki could run straight into a landmine without seeing it first. Okay. So, thanks for watching, friends. We will probably stop there for the first episode. We've gone through the lengthy character creation and a whole bunch of talking with intro videos and whatnot, and me messing with sound values and not knowing how to do a decent production value. Very much typical of how this is going to go, I think. Anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying it so far. When we kick off on the next episode, we'll be heading out into the wastes, and it's going to be a lot of combat and a lot of mistakes on my part and a lot of learning. I haven't played this game in ages, but I'm loving it. I can't wait. But friends, thanks for watching. I'm Stobbie149. This is Wasteland 2, and when we come back, we'll be heading out into the wastes.